So here's an interesting American Muslim perspective about the election and its outcome. So as everyone is probably aware by now, Donald Trump is the president-elect for the United States of America. He beat Hillary Clinton with the electoral college votes, and somehow Hillary Clinton still won the popular vote by about 2 million is the last I heard. 2 million. A surprise to me. Either outcome sucks, and my conscience is clear. I went and voted. I voted for Jill Stein. I went for a person who represented my values, which is the American thing to do. I didn't vote out of fear, and I didn't vote out of disparity. It was I went and voted for the person I wanted. I got the Jill Stein. So Donald Trump is now going to be America's new president, sorry. And an interesting thing has happened, and it's kind of waking the American people up. And it's actually a great thing. The first thing people probably felt when they realized that this guy, Donald Trump became, president, that he was at least elected. A lot of people were distraught. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But I see it differently. I see this as actually a pretty good thing. Now, obviously, there's going to be issues with his white supremacist followers, those people. There's already, within hours after his being announced the presidential elect, there's been a crime spree, hundreds of them across the United States. Muslim women, being attacked by a group of men, a group of cowards, attacking women, snatching off their hijab, women who decided, I want to be modest and not show my body to the world, are having their clothes ripped off. And in some cases, they're being beat up, and they're having their stuff stolen from them. You have spray paint, graffiti all over the place, white America, Trump, yeah, that's what's up, burning things down in the name of Trump. And I was recently with a group of my friends, and we were talking a lot about this, and a lot of them were, for the most part, kind of Trump supporters. And they were saying, yeah, well, these things that are happening around the United States, Hillary Clinton, she's paying people. Didn't you hear? This guy came out and said he was paid $3,500. Okay, given Clinton's history, the way she behaves, how she runs things, no surprises there. Whether, if she did this or not, I'm not going to say that she didn't, because this is totally something a Clinton would do. And according to Donald Trump, he agrees with this. He actually put here in a Twitter, and I'll show it up here, his first Twitter right after he won. Just had a very open and successful presidential election. Now professional protesters incited by the media are protesting. Very unfair. Now again, I'm willing to agree that Hillary Clinton would in fact do something like this, hire people to, protest and make a noise and do all these sorts of things. So, okay, I'll give you that, professional protesters. But now, is that claim true, or how likely is that to be true? And before we cover that, I think it's important to show the second tweet that he came out with. I guess this second tweet was something that was supposed to prove or say, hey, look, by the way, guys, we're going to do this all together. And, this protesting stuff, it's a good thing. Here, let me just put this tweet up. Love the fact that the small groups of protesters last night have passion for our great country. We will all come together and be proud. Now let's investigate these claims that he's made on his Twitter. First of all, he's saying professional protesters are incited by the media. And in his next one, he's saying he loves the fact that small groups of protesters last night have passion for our great country. Small groups. Okay, let's talk about these small groups. Let's see how small these groups are. This is Donald Trump, so, I mean, people shouldn't be surprised by this, but for those who were diehard supporters of him, you know, those who are going to be super, super sad and probably commit suicide when they realize he's not going to build the wall like he said, when he's not going to put a ban on Muslims like he said, and all the other things that he promised and said in order to win the election to get you idiots to proudly vote for him. So let's look at that. We have from heavy.com, they made a list of all the states in the United States which were having protests against Donald Trump. So I'm not going to go through the whole entire list. There's just way too much. Heavy.com. You can go there, check it out. In Seattle, Washington, they said that there were thousands. And now when it says thousands, obviously it's more than 1,000. So just to be generous, if it says thousands, we'll just say 2,000. So about 2,000 in Seattle, Washington. In San Francisco, California, there were 3,000 who took to the streets and 1,000 who walked out from school to go and protest. LA, California, at least 10,000 people. Oakland, California, 7,000 people. Berkeley, California, 1,500 students walked out of class to protest. We have in Colorado that, let me see, Fox 31 says that thousands in Denver had gone out and shut down the I-25. So once again, it says thousands, so we'll say 2,000 at least. And it also, there was reported thousands in Boulder. So I guess we'll say 2,000 for Boulder, Colorado as well. Florida, NBC Miami estimates that 3,000 protesters had turned out, and Fort Lauderdale has reported that hundreds have come out as well. In Illinois, Chicago had about 2,000. Iowa had about 100 protesters. Kentucky, 500. In Maryland, it says there was hundreds of protesters, mostly students. And again, we're going to be generous. So if it says hundreds, we can assume that it's more than 100. So we'll say 200, just to be fair. And Minnesota said thousands, so 2,000 at least. Nebraska, there was possibly thousands. And since it's possibly thousands, we won't say 2,000. We'll just put it at about 1,000. Unless that's not being fair. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. There's a lot of angry people out there. In New York, over 10,000 people have surrounded the Trump Tower. They're evicting this guy. Now he knows what it's like to be the average American who had the banks stealing their homes from them. This guy's being evicted by who? We, the people. Over 10,000. And in Texas, they said thousands. Again, we'll put it at 2. And when you add it all up, just from these states and the cities here in these states, I came out to about 48,600 protesters total just from here. Obviously, I didn't go through all the states and cities that are protesting. Just these few I mentioned. And this is the protest here in America. So let's investigate this. He says professional protesters incited by the media are protesting. When he says professional, so that presupposes that these people are being paid. And according to that one guy in Fountain Hills, Arizona, who said he was paid $3,500 to go and protest at a Trump rally, I don't know how he was convinced a guy in Fountain Hills with a nice home and all this, who has every reason to want to support Donald Trump, is going to take $3,500 and risk his life, because everyone knows what happens at a Trump rally if you're black, Mexican, or look like a person of color, and you're cheering for the guy. Donald Trump calls you out, you get beat up and removed. So, but either way, he came forward. He was paid $3,500. Now, these 48,600 people, were they all paid $3,500 to go and protest? No doubt, within a few of those numbers, there's undoubtedly going to be some people who were paid $3,500. But you're not going to get a number like that unless you're trying to tell me that Clinton somehow had the money, this greedy Clinton who has made a career out of ripping off the American people by getting in bed with the big banks and the big corporations. She's going to go ahead and now turn around and give all her money away to these protesters. For what? Because even though she won a popular vote, again, the only reason she got any votes at all is because people didn't know what the hell was going on. They didn't know that there was Gary Johnson also running for president. They also didn't know about Jill Stein. One of the coolest candidates, one of the most level-headed candidates that probably America's ever seen. Yes, Obama was very charismatic. He turned out to be a fake. Jill Stein, not represented by any corporation. She didn't get any donor money from any big places. She had her own thing, and her donations came from the love of the people. Obviously, it wasn't enough because, again, there was a big, huge blackout on her. We all know what happened. The Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton knocks him out of the race, upsetting millions of people. That's probably a lot of people voted for Donald Trump just to spite Hillary over that fact. Just over that. So there was a lot of, there was a lot of turmoil going on with this election. A lot of very unfair things happening. So when, Trump says very unfair, yes, very unfair. Very unfair. But these professional protesters, unless you're going to tell me that this criminal Hillary Clinton is going to give all her money away just to pay off, and like I said, this is only 48,600. It's only for the states and their cities that I've listed here. The list continues. She's not going to do that. There's no reason for her to do something like that. That's just, she really wants that power. What for? The rest of the people, the protest would have still continued if she had won. That's just how bad she was. That's how terrible both candidates were. But Trump has a way of really pissing people off. So he had to throw in the fact. I love the fact that small groups of protesters have passion for our great country. And like the dictator he is, we will come together and be proud. Yeah, we will come together and be proud. Well, those small groups, 48,600 is not a small group. That's a huge group. So you're going to sit there and try to piss all these people off, trying to make it sound like it's just a few people, dissenting voices. If it had only been a few dissenting voices, those few dissenting voices would have already been killed by people who support this tyrant. Because these people are going around doing all sorts of crazy stuff. They're attacking people, innocent people. You see a 4-foot tall woman, 80 pounds. But it takes 6 of you white supremacist dudes to surround her, beat her up, snatch her clothes off, and steal her stuff. Don't let this American catch you. Anyone doing something like that, anyone, it's going to be Zimmerman all day long. So this is what's going on right now. We have all these protests. Everyone is absolutely against this tyrant, this man, to become president. And it's gotten so bad that even in Germany, Berlin, hundreds of protesters surrounded the U.S. embassy to protest Donald Trump. People in Berlin, that's a white place. And they're coming together, hundreds of them. It could be at thousands now. This was yesterday, I heard. It could be at thousands now. Have surrounded the U.S. embassy to protest Donald Trump being elected. Also, Marrakesh, Morocco. Thousands of people have gathered to protest his becoming president as well. So there's worldwide protests going on to stop this dictator. We all saw what happened with Hitler. And the last thing we want is to get another one.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى واتقوا الله